it's true, and I don't care for your neighbors.
No, I know you don't. We established that nobody cares for my neighbors on Saturday. And, there was, like, N-bombs being yelled at the top of their lungs sex comments and all these things. And
we're talking about episode 69, but let's move on.
Yeah, well, that's where you have to mention the sex. Is it 69, is it? Anyways. So Seba's like, okay, whatever. I finally agree to this. 3 days later, I finally get back to him. So by Friday,
it just kind of happened.
Well, yeah,
people start showing up at your place with cans of beer, demanding.
Yeah,
things.
and then people. It just kind of was supposed to be like 3-4 people. Then it was 5, 6, then 12, and then it was like nonstop games of murder ball all day. And Seba just really got in there.
I did,
and you did, and you got in there. You had maybe 6 games in a row
at least.
I played one with you, and you played a couple with Steve and Nick, and
I would take any partner that would have me.
You were basically just wanted to play, And so Seba's having a great time. He's playing and he's winning. So if you know the rules of murder ball, if you're winning, you're drinking the most. So it's the opposite of it's basically the big boy games. Version of beer pong. It's like the winning team drinks the most. When you're playing beer pong, you want to try not to drink the most. Yeah,
as if I'm so cool, I'm not going to drink at all. Right? What's the fun in that?
So then Seba's having all these drinks, and then all of a sudden we ran out of light beer, so he's like, I got to move on to, I think was it Pabst?
Yeah.
Someone brought Pabst.
I had to run home just to
Steve,
my
so
air conditioner.
Let's put this all in context. The
water.
Richest one of everyone that's at my house brings Pabst to the party.
Yeah.
And so he brings Pabst to the party and also tells us that's been in the trunk of his car since last summer. But, we didn't care.
Still got the blue ribbon.
Yeah.
Didn't win the blue ribbon for nothing.
Ribbon. So, anyways, you're playing with the Pabst, and then the Pabst starts showing all of a sudden. And Seba's just kind of sitting there, and I have a great photo of Seba just like arm up on the recycling bin, sitting on the stairs, and like leaning back against the cooler and just like talking to Sean like he's king shit. Like it's
very casual position, and it was a real raconteur that day.
Oh yeah, and then we
not
moved
the
it
trash.
on.
I was leaning on the trash.
No, he was kind of like trying to be like I'm cool, but at the same time
I wasn't
was
Oscar the
up.
Grouch. I was just kind of leaning on it as if it was an armrest.
Well, I don't know. We were almost back today, and you were like, I could go dig through the trash to find some Michael Jordan paintings.
Yeah, well,
that's with French quotes on it.
So we passed by earlier today after we got those FourLoco. I'm strolling down the street and a local print shop,
place.
I guess, a frame place.
Frame shop, yeah.
It was trash day tomorrow, and so they were putting things out for the trash. And they had a bunch of, let's say, maybe 8x10 prints.
Prints, yeah.
Of celebrities, famous people with famous quotes. And they were all written in French, though, which seemed a little ironic because Michael Jordan didn't say X, Y, or Z in French. Mark Twain is not Mark Twain.
No, it's Martin.
Martin.
French people will say Martin. They don't say, hey, Mark Twain is Martin.
Yeah,
Mark Twain. That's what it is.
And so I was figured on the way back home, maybe I'll go check through that trash if that stuff is still there. And it was not too good. That's quality trash.
No, but Janko did bring you back 2 corners of a picture frame.
Yeah, they don't match up.
They don't. Samples. The angles are all wrong. I could just picture Kevin Robitaille like just yelling at you guys, saying, "Hey man, I can build you a better one." like the angles are all wrong. I'm just gonna get my saw out and I'll show you, and I'll turn this into a kitchen. Like that's what he's gonna do.
Is this how he speaks outside of our interactions?
Well, I don't know. You go to school with him every day. You should know what happened. Like,
you know Kevin for basically your entire life.
Yeah.
So is that how he speaks?
Well, I've gotten used to him at school. So he's talking about that stuff at school, but he goes past the designated hours and continues talking about...
once school is over and it comes to...
he takes school home.
Craft work and...
gardening as well.
Yeah, gardening.
Oh, yeah, his flowers.
Oh, Mark, could you please tell us a story?
Oh, man.
He had a housewarming party last year where the police came because we were too rowdy.
Yeah, and he was just, instead of he's about to get a ticket, he decides he's like, oh, there's 2 cops here. Let me show you my garden and give you a tour of my garden.
Everyone who showed up at this housewarming place, everyone who showed up at the housewarming party got a good tour of the garden.
Yeah.
And then even the police who were being called in on a noise complaint,
him a ticket, but no,
got a good tour of the garden.
His garden in the backyard. Yeah. It was good.
Hopefully he won't listen to this episode, but
I want him to listen to this episode.
Well, we'll see. Christopher Curtis and I, previous guest of this show, during that party, were plotting against his garden.
Oh yeah,
He was so proud of that garden that we were thinking, like, maybe we could just, like, take all the batteries out of all the remotes and bury them in the dirt. Do you think they'll explode and poison his plants? Maybe we should just go into the kitchen, take handfuls of salt.
Yeah, salt the earth.
And we salted the earth a little bit. We didn't
Did
put
you
a
do
ton.
that?
Yeah, we threw a bunch of salt in his garden. And we were really hoping that later in the summer he'd be like, oh, I'm not as good a gardener as I thought. But we never heard such a thing, so I guess he got lucky.
You need more salt next
We
time.
needed more salt. That's what we... no more
Gasoline,
snails.
too.
Ooh.
That gets into the...
Yeah, that's more
deep into it
expensive.
now.
Salt's a little cheap.
That's true. Gasoline's going up. So how I'm sorry, we didn't get to find out how you did in your final games.
Oh, yeah.
Murder
So
ball.
Mark, to fill in the rest of the night after
So going
after
back
Murder Ball.
to 10 minutes ago. So, it basically, I'm not even sure what your record was, but it must have been a good record if you were leaning up on the garbage can, being all Joe Cool and stuff. And, so we basically worked our way over to Terrace Saint Ambroise. We said, well, let's go and play some beanbags. Try some beanbag action
By
for a
that
bit.
point, though, I was donezo.
Oh, yeah. And so we basically went there. That was kind of uneventful. So we all kind of, people were starting to go their own ways. And so Seb is like, okay, we're going to go somewhere else. And I'm like, okay. So you, Hoffer, and I were like, all right, let's get in a taxi. And then the freight train comes by and blocks off Saint Ambroise Street. So we couldn't get back to Griffintown area. So we're like, okay, there's one bar in this area.
Was
it's going to
that
take
the
forever for the
plan?
train to go by.
I don't even remember the plan.
Yeah,
at this
we were
point.
supposed to go to Drinkery or that area or
Sure.
wherever. We didn't know where we're going,
So
but we're
instead
going
we
there.
went to Bar Courcelles because
And
of a
yeah,
train.
because the train was taking forever, so we said, screw this, let's go there. So we basically get there and we ran into Derek Nadon and and Matt Daly.
Oh, man,
So,
I totally
yeah.
forgot we even saw those
Yeah,
guys.
so we ran into those guys. We haven't seen in ages. And so we're sitting there. We have a couple drinks. And I'm sorry, Sean McCartan and his lady were with us as well. And so all of a sudden, Seba just... I'll always remember is I'm standing by the DJ. We're watching what I thought was Wonder Woman on the TV. And you and I saw Wonder Woman. When Hoffer came out of the bathroom, it was like some airplane movie or something. And we're like, we swear this is the Wonder Woman movie. And we're trying to point this out to him, like the old 80s version or whatever. And he doesn't believe us.
Linda Carter.
And but he doesn't believe us. We're like, I swear she's coming. And he's like, this is not happening. We went a good 10 minutes of watching these airplanes fight. And we're like, this is just not happening.
This is familiar now, yeah.
Yeah, and then so Seba just all of a sudden
back to
DJ kicks on this song and he just grabs my hand and starts spinning me. And I'm like, okay, so Seba's spinning me. And next thing you know, he puts my hand down and he's just shaking my shoulders. And I'm like,
his move.
Seba,
That's his move.
Stop shaking me. He's like, I'm going to shake you because I want to shake you. I'm like, all right, well, keep shaking me, I guess. And starts spinning me some more. And I'm like, Seba, stop. He goes, I'm going to spin and shake you. It's Saturday in Saint-Jean. I'm like, all right, fine. Just, I'll be the puppet. You'll be the puppeteer, I guess. And just kind of went with the flow. And then when I started getting dizzy, I'm like, all right, it's time for some fresh air or maybe another whiskey or something. I don't know. It was...
What? The funny thing is, I don't remember any of this. I do remember going to the bar and seeing those individuals. I did forget it until you mentioned it just now. But I don't remember some of the details of the Saint Ambroise Terrace, and I do not at all remember shaking or spinning you. I do remember Wonder Woman now that you mentioned it.
Yeah, I told you.
I
There
think
was
we
Wonder
did see
Woman. And I
Wonder
swear
Woman.
to God, it was like perfect timing when
Yeah.
Hoffer comes out of the bathroom and now it's just like this intergalactic airplane fight or whatever spaceship fight.
Maybe it was the invisible Wonder Woman's invisible plane.
That's what we were trying to sell it as. But he didn't, it didn't fly with him. He knew his stuff, and we're like, all right, this is... And then you resorted with, let's change the subject. Let's start spinning Mark, like, nonstop.
Yeah,
for a
spin
good
and
5
shaking.
minutes.
And you know
Yeah,
what?
spin and shake.
When
That's
you
your
say
move.
that,
That's your thing.
spinning, I'm surprised I'm not a big spinner. But I do like shaking people. I love shaking
As long as you're
people.
not shaking babies.
Yeah. That's why don't let me near your babies.
No,
'cause
you
I
should
like
tell me
shaking
about
people.
you told me about the girl at work and the shaking. With
I
the
shake
coins.
people at work. I shake a lot of people in this life.
It's like a bully.
Keep you.
You're
I like how entitled
like
you
a
feel.
bully.
Yeah, how entitled you were in that moment, though, shaking him and be like, "I'm going to shake you because I want to shake you." You did it, and they were just okay with it.
He's okay with it. We ended up going to another bar. I don't remember any of that. I do remember that I couldn't do it, and I needed to go home because I'd been drinking for a good 12 hours or so, give or take.
Probably.
And what I needed to do was order some halal food from Uber Eats and hurry home before the food got there. And I arrived home just in time to use the washroom, get out of the washroom, and discover the delivery man at my front door that was left wide open, going, "Hi, is everything good?" I'm like, "Oh, you startled me." So I proceeded to, You want some halal food?
I'm just going to have a shower.
You want care to join me? And so I proceeded to eat that halal food, dropping it all over myself and spilling the sauces.
And then you paid him.
And then I passed out on the couch and woke up in the morning pretty good. Really not nearly as hungover as I thought I would be. Feeling pretty good.
Well, it must be the halal food.
Yeah, the halal food really saved me. I hear that stuff
is,
great.
Godsend.
There were some grisly bits, but you know what? We're not talking about
like your
the halal
oysters
food
tonight. Where you got the grisly bits.
We're not talking about the halal food today. We're talking about Grindr.
Oh, I forgot.
Where we went tonight for dinner.
Yes.
Yeah.
We each got a burger.
Mm-hmm.
We each got a different side. Matthew, you got fries.
Yeah, classic.
Mark, you got a salad. I got creamy spinach. Sounds weird in English.
Like, I can't even think of the word in French.
What is it?
Crème d'épinard.
Yeah, crème d'épinard.
So it's heavy cream and spinach cooked together. Very good. And we, as a little appetizer, Mark, you and I shared some oysters.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the first set of oysters we shared today.
We've actually 2 rounds of oysters at 2 different places.
We went to a place and we're like, I knew they had oysters, and whatever. I don't know. It piqued my interest. I felt like oysters.
Well, we also had no choice but to order food with our adult beverage.
That's right.
So we basically, we're like, well, let's just get some finger food.
A little bite.
Seth was like, what about oysters? And I'm like, not a bad idea.
Yeah, $18 for 6 bites of food is not the best financially deal, but I was in that kind of a mood.
You pay for oysters, $3 an oyster. That's
a going rate for oysters.
Yeah. Can you call it a bite though, or it's more of a slurp?
Yeah, it's more of a slurp, I suppose.
It is more of a slurp.
So we had some oysters at one place.
It's a good slurp, though.
Went to another place. We went to Grindr. We got some more oysters.
Yeah.
And part of my motivation for getting oysters at Grindr, aside from already having had oysters and being on an oyster train of some sort, was we sat down. The decor is great. The music's loud. The furniture is trendy and interesting. There are plants growing all over the place. It's sort of like a greenhouse setting. And I look over, and there's a big bar and a little bar. And behind the little bar, some young man just leaning around. What's he up to?
Yeah, he was winging at you a bit, too.
Maybe.
Well, the place is called Grindr.
That's true. And you mentioned, well, that's the oyster bar. Oh. Well, I want Oyster Boy to do a little work.
He's now Oyster Boy.
I see Oyster Boy leaning there, enjoying his shift, doing nothing except looking at his fingernails.
Oh,
and I want him to shuck some oysters for my satisfaction. At first I didn't even want to eat the oysters. I just wanted him to work.
I thought it was weird
that
you were just looking him in the eye when he was shucking those oysters.
Well, I was a Grindr looking at this oyster boy, and I just wanted to watch him work.
Yeah.
It was kind of disturbing, but at the same time, kind of like, those oysters.
So I figured the only way to ensure that he works is order some oysters. So Mark, you and I split some oysters.
Yeah.
Excellent oysters.
They were fantastic.
Way better than the first set of oysters. These
Yep.
were very full, juicy.
They were good.
Tasty.
It was a very
oysters.
Similar kind of sauce that we can put on it.
Yeah, some sort of like
onion,
vinegary,
vinegary,
I don't know
the name
what
of
do
it.
I know about
yeah,
oysters?
The oyster stuff you put on it. Yeah. And at least we had a little bit of Tabasco this time, so you get that extra kick. And you found out 3 drops was too much. I thought 2 was good, 3 was
too many.
Was okay, but when I did 3, I put the horseradish too, so it was a bit too much. The horseradish is to me just a big extra fuck you that you don't need. And so basically they were good oysters, and you didn't have any crumbs because last time you had them and the shell
bits.
fell in your mouth.
Shell bits in my mouth.
That's kind of weird.
Who wants shell bits?
That just never happened to me. Usually I don't. I usually just slurp out of it. I'm not grinding my teeth on the bottom of the shell.
This is why I went to the washroom while you guys were devouring these.
So
we had little shell bits to spit all over.
So let's put it in the context. So Janko's like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and he comes back and he basically looks at us like we're disgusting.
Ogres.
And yeah.
Just sucking creatures right out of their homes, right out of their bodies.
Yeah.
So I decided to share a story with you guys about a friend of mine who eats balut eggs.
Oh no.
Yeah, please. Yeah,
the look on your faces when I told you guys that.
Yeah, please tell me. Go on about this.
So she basically has these eggs